Hello! Welcome back to Story Reckless. I'm Nathan, and I'm the DM here, and I use he, him pronouns. We're going to play some D&D tonight. It's going to be intense. We're playing Descent into Avernus, and things are really heating up down in hell. So, let's do our player intros so we can jump right into this.
My name's Claire. My pronouns are they, them. I am playing Kidom, half-elf grave cleric.
My name is Olive. I use she and they pronouns. I'm playing Calliope, Air Genasi Artificer.
I'm Enya. They, them pronouns. Playing Pip, an alchemist satyr.
I guess I need to jump in right away. And almost
Sometimes not having a bit is the bit.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Well, with that, I think we can do a quick recap and pick up where we left off. So, where we left off, some of you had just escaped the Infernal Archive. Pip, Calliope, and Valor escaping on two of the Infernal war machines, the Infernal motorcycles, essentially. You were able to get away. Unfortunately, Kadam, Lulu, and Yonder got captured and brought aboard the flying fortress that was patrolling the outskirts of the archive. Being brought on board, Kadam, you were interrogated by the captain of the flying fortress, whose name I am blanking on. It's like Aztazur. Interrogated by the captain Aztazur aboard the flying fortress, trying to get information out of you as to who your companions are and what their intentions are with the contracts that they stole. With the contracts in hand, Calliope and Pip discussed what just happened and trying to figure out what to do next with Valor and the contracts. Ultimately, it seems that the potential quickest resolution to what you are doing in trying to free Elturel and destroy these contracts is to go back to Mad Maggie at Fort Knucklebone to learn how to destroy the contract for Elturel. Calliope was pretty hesitant about doing this, understandably, but ultimately it seems as you drove off into the wasteland that you were headed in the direction of Fort Knucklebone. So with that, I think we should start with Calliope and Pip. Oh. I will have to check that later. That was a group chat. Got it. Yes, thank you. Before we start, actually, before we jump on to the characters here, I would like to say a quick content warning for tonight's episode. There may be scenes of torture tonight. We will not have any prolonged scenes of physical torture or any physical torture on screen. There might be hints of it, but we will be doing things like fading to black or time jumping, cutting away if torture starts. If you know Star Wars as a cultural touchstone, think of the scene with Han Solo in Empire Strikes Back when we cut away and there's a time jump and you see how, distraught he is afterwards. So that's what we plan to do tonight. But nevertheless, just want to throw that content warning out in case anybody watching is sensitive to that and would like to know ahead of time so they can be prepared and may want to tune out when that happens. So totally understand. With that, I think that covers everything. Let's do this. Let's jump into this. So let's start with Pip and Calliope. You're driving across the wastes, your motorbikes barreling through the wasteland. I'm not going to have you roll to see whether or not you get to Fort Knucklebone, but I am still going to have you roll to see how long it takes you. You've been there before. The kind of weird properties of Avernus with you have been there before and being so familiar with it, we don't need to do that roll. But go ahead and one of you roll 2d12 to see how long it's going to take for you to actually get there.
I think Calliope's in the bag right now, so she shouldn't roll.
Okay, great. Pip,
Okay.
let's get that 2d12 roll.
Alrighty. This is hold on, I'm gonna do it on which dice.
Okay.
Oh my god.
I'll stay on this 4-person screen for now so we can see the dice roll, but I do want to switch to one of our other seats.
Okay. That is a 10.
Oh, I don't see it on. You might not be in our room, but I believe you. You got a 10. Okay, excellent. Okay. I don't know. Join you on your live streams when you're streaming. I mean, you could join and watch our show. That's
I'm pretty sure
yeah.
that's some spam.
Is that a spam?
Created 1
Okay.
hour ago.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You got a 10. Okay. Well, that's actually quite good. That's not very long. So you are driving across the wasteland. Calliope, you're in the bag. Are you? I feel like last session we talked. Are you gonna try to do a long rest in the bag?
Yeah.
Okay. I think this is doable because as an air genasi, you don't actually need to breathe, right? So.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And like I could just leave the bag lid open. I don't know if air can cross.
I don't. Yeah, bag of holding's so weird. I don't think it does. Yeah.
Okay.
You're
Yeah,
kind of
well,
floating.
I just
in
hold my
this-
breath in my sleep, I guess.
Yeah, you're just floating in this strange void, and I think you have to sort of focus down into like a meditative state and let yourself drift off. Yeah, but you begin this long journey. Pip, Valor seems pretty focused on this journey. If you want to do anything, let me know, but otherwise it just takes place as you bounce across the landscape on these bikes. Various wreckage and craters and war-torn pieces of landscape flitting past you as you barrel towards the fort. Do you want to do anything as the 10 hours go by?
This doesn't necessarily need to be a scene, but Pip can't, no matter how serious or dire a situation is, 10 hours is a long time, and Pip is bored.
Yeah.
She is just like whistling. It gets lost in the wind. At one point, she tries rigging a little contraption to see if she can get the bike handlebars to just go so that she can like play her lyre or the panpipes or something.
That is definitely a like you maybe have it working for a handful of minutes, but the terrain is not very conducive to this. So you have the like, I don't know if you ever done the riding a bike with no handlebars like when you're a kid or even now, and there's always those moments when you kind of suddenly go
that's exactly what happens. Pip is just like messing with it. He's like, yeah, okay, I've got this. This is easy peasy, and is like playing a thing, and then almost, yeah, it's like, okay, I guess I have to hold it.
Yeah, you're right. It is a long time. 10 hours is a very long time to be, especially on like a motorcycle, going across this wasteland. I think it's 10 hours including some breaks, because you definitely at points need to like stop and stretch and wait. You don't really spot any danger on the route. At one point very far off you can see some distant flashes in the hazy clouds in the distance, and some shapes sort of flitting about and streaks of light as some distant battle takes place far in the distance. But eventually you start to see the familiar sight of Fort Knucklebone. Coming up to sort of a ridge, you see that sort of bowl-like valley going down and then rising up into kind of a plateau surrounded by that wreckage of a wall, and in the middle of it the rocky, craggy shape of a hand where there are many structures built within. You can see some dust clouds sort of pluming about of a couple of war machines that seem to also be pulling into Fort Knucklebone at this time. But you've made it here to Fort Knucklebone.
Where we got our war machines.
Yeah, where you got your war machines. Valor, as you're stopped there looking over the fort, she kind of looks to you. Are you sure you're ready for this, Pip?
The best thing to do when you're not ready is to just jump in with both feet.
Well, yeah, I can get behind that.
Well, good, because we're jumping.
Great, I'll just treat it like jumping into a icy pond.
Very
Let's see.
refreshing.
One of y'all, give me a hand. Sticking my hand out of the bag.
Oh, yes, I mean, do you want to come out now, or we're almost to the fort?
I thought we were there. Okay. I have one more thing. I have a couple things cooking.
So you want us to wait?
Yeah. Let's get closer.
All right. So start driving up. Calliope, if you want to keep your head out of the bag, you can see the fort approaching as you're coming. Is this Theater of the Mind? Oh, hi, Covert Psyop. Nice to see you in chat for the first time. Kind of. We do have maps sometimes. Right now we're doing some Theater of the Mind because we're doing a lot of RP. But, I can bring us over to a map so we have something to look at. I know that's always nice. Here's our Avernus. We're doing the Descent into Avernus campaign right now. So, and you guys have all just arrived at Fort Knucklebone. So yeah, you driving down the hill towards the fort, Calliope, you can see it approaching that kind of ramshackle wall made of various old broken down war machines and scrap metal. You see the little shapes of figures kind of walking the perimeter of the walls and starting to look towards you as you're approaching. Did you want to have them stop ahead of time, Calliope? Before going into the fort?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's good.
Okay, so the two bikes kind of pull up and stop.
Here, I'm gonna hand you some things. Give me a second. And I'm gonna start handing out pieces of machinery.
This is just hands coming out of the bag.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
just a large spire with kind of canvas rolled up, and just what looks like a leg, a big mechanical leg.
Yeah, so for Covert Psyop, if it's not clear, Calliope is currently in a bag of holding because she is an air genasi and can indefinitely hold her breath.
Small.
A small air genasi, yeah, almost gnome size, I think, right? You're
Yeah.
size small. And yeah, so just this little air genasi lifting, you said a leg, a mechanical leg out of the bag. Yeah. Okay, awesome. So you start lifting these pieces out of the bag.
I'm sorry, I just imagine, because I forgot Calliope was so small, trying to lift this big thing and it's just shaking horribly until Valor comes in and pulls it out.
Awesome. So you start pulling all these pieces out. Eventually all of it comes out of the bag. What are you doing here?
And after I've handed out all the bits, I'm gonna climb out and be like, just give me a moment. And I'm gonna start assembling dummy 3, winged dummy.
Okay. Yeah, what does this look like?
This looks like I think it's a wyvern with no head, which is pretty awkward. So it's again kind of the original big dummy of this chicken walker sort of thing, but even less of a front, and just these two kind of big canvas wings folded in.
Mm-hmm.
And we have once again the stinger.
Cool. So this mechanical made of metal, canvas, wood pieces.
Yeah, I harvested a lot from that infernal war machine junkyard we were just at.
So there is no wood, I think. It is all metal and maybe some kind of whatever the equivalent of wire, rubbery stuff, something kind of like that. So yeah. Okay, amazing. Yeah, so after some time, this thing is assembled, this wyvern-looking construct with no head and this big kind of scorpion tail, the wings folded up. It is currently sitting there inert, completely still, needing one final piece.
One final piece, and I pull out this small gemstone and be like, okay, third time's the charm.
Okay.
Give it like a quick peck when nobody's looking, and then like stick it.
You slot it in. I imagine it's like, I don't know, I imagine the head is sort of like peeled open, you know, kind of how Big Dummy had, and you're able to slot it in there. Is that right?
I don't think, I want it to be different than Big Dummy.
Yeah, of course.
I think there's like not really a head here.
Okay.
Where would the Squire Crystal go?
Maybe it's
I think
in
just
the
like
tail?
I think actually just like in the core. It's just like
In the core. Great.
It's like kind of like opening up its chest, like pop it in,
Okay.
close it up. Keep it safe. Keep it safe. No sense in exposing this.
It slots in, and as it starts to close up, we hear the, and the whole thing sort of
Hey,
stretches,
good to have you back with us.
looks towards you, and then sort of waddles up next to you, and then kind of gets down.
How you feeling? Want to stretch those wings of yours?
The wings unfurl. As this is happening, Pip, you suddenly hear kind of a commotion up on the wall that's, you know, some distance away, and you can see all the little shapes of what you know to be the madcaps, those strange little creatures that you encountered, and they're all kind of looking, and you hear them being like, like sort of gibbering with each other as they see this thing coming into shape. The wings unfurl, the canvas wings unfurl and kind of stretch out, and the whole apparatus, just construct, kind of turns and looks at you and folds the wings back up.
Okay, maybe in a bit. Pip, want to lead the way?
As Calliope is assembling dummy wing to dummy,
Mm-hmm.
and Pip asks several times, like, "You need any help with that?" But mostly, actually, yeah. As soon as the madcaps appear, Pip suddenly remembers, like, Dom hasn't Valor.
I mean,
Valor.
yeah, Valor is like looking up at those madcaps, just kind of mad dogging them as this is all happening, just keeping an eye on them.
Valor, please, can I cast Death Ward on you?
She looks to you. I mean,
She already
Sure,
has
I
Death
guess.
Ward on her.
oh, she has Death Ward. How long does Death Ward last?
A day?
A day. Okay, yeah, it hasn't been 24
still?
hours.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't.
I thought it was only. I thought it was
was it?
only 8 hours. Wild. Okay.
Let me check.
Yeah, if it's 24 hours, then yeah.
It's 8 hours. Never mind. We've just been doing it by the day.
Okay, so it is. Well, yeah. I mean, I've on the calendar for all intents and purposes, I've marked off another day with like this round of travel. So yeah, let's say it's fated at this point.
Okay. Calliope, then you also do not have Ward of Gift of Alacrity up.
Excellent. Okay. I mean, not excellent for you, but good to know. Yes, apparatus, all the big words. Yeah. So yeah, Valor goes. Sure. I take it, but Calliope, do you mind?
Yeah, you need it more than I do.
I mean, come on, like. Yeah, it's probably true.
Just let her.
Yes,
let her.
I know. I've seen her in battle. Yeah, I get it. All right, let's do this. Let's get this over with. I don't like this place.
All right. Pulls out the Orb of Dragon kind and looks into it and goes,
Oh, you gotta. Yeah, you gotta. Are you gonna prick yourself with to get the blood to activate it? You can prick somebody else.
Yeah, I think Pip has like super chapped lips from the drive. Just pulls off like just bites down and is like, "Hey, fuck, it hurts," and then kisses it.
All right, roll a d4 for me. That's awful.
I don't like
Oh my
that.
god. Yeah.
It's true. You could prick Valor.
Four again.
Four!
Oh my
Oh my God.
god. My lips are so chapped. I didn't realize how bad it was. Oh my god.
That's gonna
Just
be
dribbling blood.
Yeah, it's gonna be so uncomfortable all for the whole rest of the day as you just have this like like exposed wound on your lip that you're
No,
gonna
this
heal.
is actually so stupid. I think that Pip is just straight up going to it's dealing word on herself.
All right, awesome. So you, and it seals up after casting that. But you can use the Orb of Dragonkind after drawing some blood to apply it to the orb, and it kind of sucks it into its surface. And is that how you're casting Death Ward on Valor?
Yes.
Okay, great. So with that applied, and the fort there looming, Calliope, you've gotten out. You have Winged Dummy out. Are you just gonna ride on Big Dummy up to the gates with the two of them on their bikes?
What do you think, Pip? Erratic entrance? Or should I just follow you?
We're so close. We're so close. Everything in me says dramatic entrance, but I know it's not the right answer. So let's just do it.
Okay. Not really knowing what let's just do it means, Calliope is going to have Winged Dummy activate its boots of flying.
So the wings
Yeah.
unfurl. Okay.
And I'm just gonna take off up into the sky.
Okay.
And like start circling the fort. And when it looks like they are met with some sort of delegation, I'll like land dramatically.
Okay, so the wings unfurl, you jump on Winged Dummy, and it kicks off with a cloud of dust and up into the sky, this strange wyvern-like shape soaring up above the fort. You can hear the kind of echoing sound of all the madcaps on the wall going, ah! Ah! Looking up as this thing goes taking off. Pip, you and Valor ride up on your bikes up to the gate of this fort. You can see many of the madcaps still just kind of wide-eyed looking up at the winged thing flying above. Some of them have scurried off and have gotten onto... I believe there are some armaments for the fort. Yeah, there are. There's just some bolt throwers that the war machines have kind of mounted on the wall. So some of them have scurried off to these bolt throwers and are kind of like wrestling these big heavy weapons to like try to point them up to the sky. Doesn't seem like they're going to be firing, but they're nevertheless pointing them up there. But as you get up closer to the gate, you see, 3 of these madcaps looking over the edge as you approach. And one of them sort of squints their eyes as you come up. Okay. You see them kind of squinting as you approach, and then one of them goes, I remember this lot! Look! It's the one that died! And they all point at Valor, and then you just hear a chorus of laughter. Like going across, and they're all just laughing and pointing as you're kind of riding up to get to the front of the gate. Oh, you're muted.
Pip is just.
It was
yelling
so
at them.
profane that you silenced yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
You just start yelling at them. Okay, yeah. They're kind of laughing, and then one of them sort of that seems to be the leader kind of like waves them all off, and then looks down at you. All right, what's your business at Fort Knucklebone?
We're here to see Mad Maggie. Don't get in her way. Just leave us alone. We'll leave you alone.
All right, yes, no problem. Just no funny business, no causing any trouble, and everything will go just great. Is this one with you?
And they point up to the winged thing flying overhead.
Yeah, and she's a one Genasi army, so don't mess with her either.
Is that a challenge?
No, it's not a challenge. Just let us in.
Okay, only if you ask nicely.
Look, Maggie has asked us here on an incredibly important mission. If you get in her way, she's going to be so angry. Do you really want to make Maggie angry?
I'm trying to decide if this is a lie or just a stretching of the truth. Maggie does know you're coming. Yeah, I'll allow this as you don't have to roll your save for this, but I will say go ahead and roll an intimidation roll for me to just see how.
No, not a deception.
Do you
Okay,
feel
an
like
intimidation.
do you feel like is this a lie? If you if you feel like you're lying, then first make a whiz save for me and then
I'll
make a
make a whiz
deception.
save.
Okay, great.
I'll do it for the whiz save too.
Great. Yeah, more fun, more exciting. Okay, yeah, you're fine. Nothing happens to you. And now
cool.
go ahead and make the deception roll. Fireball the gates. Yeah.
I totally could.
Oh my God, 26. Yeah, they immediately the one goes,
Oh, shut up. Yes, okay, fine. Open the gate.
and the two heavy war machines that are used to kind of create this barricade, you hear them sort of, and the gate slides open with a loud creak, and you see the entryway into the fort, dust billowing across the big open space in front of you. You can see individuals milling about and going into the various knuckles of Fort Knucklebone, going into the various businesses and shops and whatnot. And yeah, Calliope, are you gonna come and land down with your companions?
Does it look like people are looking?
Like they're watching you? I mean, yeah, there's still a lot of the madcaps watching
Yeah, sure.
you.
Yeah, I'll be dramatic and
Okay.
head down.
Okay, so are you just gonna like land between Valor and Pip as they ride into the fort?
Yeah, I think so. I'm looking to see. Can I like shock and grasp to just make like the air be like electric and just like land with like a thunderbolt or something, like a Van der Graaf generator? Just like
Sure. Go ahead and roll an
I can give you a
Arcana.
shower of sparks.
Well, we'll roll an Arcana roll for me to see if you can do this without causing a little bit of damage to your winged dummy. 22, yeah.
22.
Okay. You're fine. So yeah, you can channel your shocking grasp to create sparks sort of jettisoning off the wings as this construct comes rocketing down and then whoo, slams with a thud, dust flying up everywhere, sparks and bits of electricity kind of as you land there between your two companions. Valor raises an eyebrow looking at you as you do this superhero landing. All of the madcaps sort of kind of go back, like, jolt back with this and then look down and just give big smiles and then they all start clapping as you land.
Calliope yells, "We're here! We got business!"
Yeah, I mean, there are people that weren't the guards who were like heading into the bar and some that were going over to the market that have stopped and turned their heads to see this. But nobody is coming to stop you as you start making your way towards the back of Fort Knucklebone, to where the entrance to Mad Maggie's is. Curling around, I guess, curling around the side, you can see the stairwell leading up. You will have to park your bikes out front and head up this metal stairwell to the sort of cave system at the back of the Knucklebone Fort. Entering in the kind of darkened space, you can see the sort of natural rock formation curving up above you with that narrow sort of crack in the ceiling, letting in some of the Avernus red light into this space. But there are other sort of, magical light sources kind of sprinkled throughout this cavern, giving strange light to this whole space. And as you enter, you can see that big metal kind of platform that is Maggie's alchemical lab, and you can kind of hear the sound of working and tinkering happening up there as beakers and glasses are being moved about, and strange machines are whirring and moving. Standing sort of down towards the entrance as you start to enter this space, you see the lumbering form of Mickey, the flesh golem that is stitched together with various parts of devils and demons, maybe. Strange kind of insectoid parts, this weird fleshy tube that is sewed to the mouth and goes down into the chest. And as you're approaching, you hear that labored kind of breathing sound coming from that tube as Mickey stands there and turns to see you and raises a hand in greeting as you approach. You hear
Hey,
from
Mickey. Pip just gives him one of Kadam's hard candies.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You reach out with this little lemon drop hard candy. Mickey kind of looks down, and the big, like, insectoid hand reaches down and grabs onto the tiny candy and raises it, and then looks at you with the mouth covered by this big tube going down that's stitched to the face. Mickey just kind of stares at the candy, stares at you.
Didn't think this one through. Well, we'll figure it out.
And then just goes and pushes it up into one of the nose holes as far as it goes, and then it just kind of lodges in there, and then pulls the finger out, and then just looks down at you. You hear from above, kind of echoing through the space, "Is that Pip I hear?" And some of the clinking sound of glass stops, and you hear the sound of footsteps on the metal catwalk above.
Mags, you really got to give Mickey a mouth.
Sorry, I'm trying to find. Where is that? I wanted to get. There it is. So you say that to Mad Maggie. You hear her voice as she's approaching.
I suppose you're right, but you know, that wasn't part of the design. Besides, I don't think he really needs food.
Doesn't work like that. As you see her form suddenly appear over the railing of this big metal platform, staring down at you. Some of the kind of strange purple light of some of the light sources in here catching the side of her face. You see her two wandering eyes suddenly fixate on you, with the like strange sort of skull cap apparatus she has on with the curved horns coming off of it, and she just looks down at you.
All right, why don't you come up here? I remember you saying you might have something for me. Yes?
I did say that, didn't I? Yes, we have these. And Pip pulls out the contract.
Oh my. All right, come up here quick. I want to get a better look.
You can see there's like a little set of stairs going up that Mickey was standing in front of.
Pip is going to hand one to Calliope, just so that we each have.
Okay, which one? You have the Baldur's Gate one, which is kind of a cube.
I'll take the one I
shape,
care about.
and then there's the El Turel one. Okay, so Calliope, you hold on to the one from El Turel. Pip, you have the one from Baldur's Gate. As you head up the stairs towards towards Mad Maggie. Walking up to her, you come up on top of the platform and then see, her big, large workstation filled, multiple tables with various bits and bobs and shelves, and there's some strange machines in the corner that are whirring, and she approaches you with her eyes fixated on you, Pip. One of them sort of wanders off and looks directly at you, Calliope, and then kind of drifts over to Valor as she walks up to you.
All right, so tell me what you've brought to me. I'm thrilled to know.
Real, actual Zariel lore. She has signed these. It's her autograph.
You don't say. Those look like, let me guess, are these some infernal contracts you've acquired?
Yes, and we were hoping you could tell us how to break these contracts. There's not really details in text in of themselves, so we were looking for a little bit of guidance.
Oh, delicious. Well, I might be able to help. It really depends. What are we working with here? Are these the original contracts? Did you manage?
Yes. We've been to the archives. It was a whole thing.
Really? That must be why things are so abuzz lately.
You've been watching this soap opera. You really haven't been following the plot?
I get bits and pieces, Pip. I'm not always tuned in. I have things to do. You know, if I watch that shit all the time, it'll rot your brain. Here, come with me.
And she starts hobbling over to one side of the of this platform to like a big shelf, and you can see she starts rummaging through and reaches up towards one of the top shelves and goes,
Oh, yes. Here. Mickey, please come over here and fetch that one for me. Yes, thank you.
Mickey comes lumbering over and reaches up to the very top of the shelf and grabs onto something and pulls it down. You see in his big hands, there's this like melon-sized object. It looks kind of like a crystal sphere that he's pulling down that's encased in kind of a lattice work of metal. And resting on top of this sphere is this almost plate-like disc that seems to be sloshing around with like a thick viscous oil that somehow is not spilling out of the plate, despite Mickey sort of like tilting it down to bring it down to all of you. Suspended within the sphere, you can see that sort of affixed to the ceiling of this sphere is this kind of strange fleshy brain-like mass with all of these tendrils kind of dangling down from it. And these filaments sort of dangle all the way down to the bottom of the sphere where there's an opening, and some of them kind of spill out the bottom, sort of licking the air around it. And sprouting from the base of this whole apparatus are these three kind of insectoid-looking legs that are kind of like twitching in anticipation as Mickey brings this apparatus down and hands it to Mad Maggie. Maggie grabs onto it.
Oh, thank you, Mickey.
She walks over to one of the tables and sets this thing down, and as she places it on the table, the legs sort of spring to life in a little three-legged tripod, and it sort of lifts up, standing there. She turns to you all.
All right. Now, I might be willing to do this for free, as it were, depending on what we have at our disposal. So please tell me, what are we working with? What are these contracts all about?
Okay, so this contract. Sorry, Pep. I'm a little bit more well-versed in this one.
No,
this
please.
here is a contract that was between Zariel and one of the founders of El Terrell. Established the Hell Riders. All the Hell Riders who like sign up have their souls apparently forfeit to Zariel. Powers the companion. Companion's made of souls, by the way.
Ooh.
I think that's the big thing of it. It's like it's kind of why El Terrell is down here.
Yes,
So we want to break that so we can
yes.
bring it back up.
Oh, I see. And if you were to break this contract, then all of those souls would no longer be tied to Zariel. Oh, well, that would be quite tragic for her, wouldn't it? Okay, very good, very good. And then what about this one? What are we working
I haven't
with?
really looked at it. Something that Lyra wanted.
So you just grabbed a random contract off the
It
shelf?
has something to do with Baldur's Gate. I don't know. It's something to do about the Vantham Purrs.
Okay.
Something about trying to do to Baldur's Gate. What happened to El Terrell?
Yeah.
Okay.
If we could break that one too, that would be great.
Honestly, I haven't looked at this one either. It looks a lot like a cube that did a lot of damage to me.
I'll tell you what, Pip, since you're one of my favorites, I'll look into this one here. And she points at the El Terrell contract. I'm happy to use my little device here to figure out. You want to break it, yes? We can figure out how that could all be done, yes. If you do want to know more about this one, though, that one we might need to do some negotiations, as you don't really know what you have in your hands, and, you know, I don't really want to waste my time on something that could be a contract between Zariel and some noble to get them rich. I mean, come on, what are we working with here? So please, I'm happy to take a look at that one if you'll just hand it over here.
And she's reaching with her
Why
long
don't we
fingers.
take care of the El Terrell one first?
Yeah,
if you
she's
don't mind?
reaching to the El Terrell
All
one,
right,
yes.
Oh, sorry. What's that fleshy insect leg thing? I just want to know what we're working with here. We went through a lot of trouble to get this contract.
Yes.
must understand.
This will help me learn all about what this is. I will be able to decipher every little bit and piece of it and how to break it, all the specifics, where it came from, how it was forged. It will take some time. I'll need to do some interpretation, but it should give you what you're looking for.
You're just doing this out of the goodness of your heart?
Both of her eyes drift and look straight at Pip.
Yes.
All right.
Don't push it. Let's not
Sounds
push
great.
it.
The contract is handed over. She clasps onto it. Thank you. And brings it over and unfurls the plates of infernal iron out into their long strip, each plate kind of connected by chains. And she lays it down onto the metal table with a clank, pushes some papers out of the way, and then gently strokes the side of this strange sphere-like object with the insect legs.
All right. Now do your job.
And then sort of points a finger down at the contract, and the whole device sort of springs into action and begins to crawl rapidly towards the contract. And starting at one end of the contract, you watch as those fleshy filaments sort of shoot out down onto the contract and start feeling it as it moves along. And the whole thing sort of walks over the contract, each filament caressing and exploring the contract as it goes. And as it does, you can see that plate of like viscous oil begins to burble and move, and Mad Maggie's eyes go wide as she leans over and starts looking at it. And you watch as what looks like fingers begin to rise out of the oil and form different patterns coming out of this plate of oil. And she begins looking at it and going,
Oh, yes, okay. Oh, interesting. Yes. Huh. Really? Okay.
and she spends a little time deciphering this as this device kind of moves back and forth along the contract, the fingers rising up out of the thick liquid. It eventually comes to a stop, and the filaments sort of rise and curl back up inside the crystal ball, and the fingers have all stopped their movement, all in a pattern. She kind of looks down.
How delightful. All right. So you want to destroy this, yes?
Yes. Or end the contract.
Okay, yes. Well, of course you could end the contract just by, killing Zariel, but that's...
Yes. We did that with another one earlier.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, I would love to hear more about that, but I sense that you're pressed for time.
Yes.
So I'll just take a little more of your time. Anyways, so all you have to do, take this contract
Yes?
and submerge it within the river Styx. And
Oh.
that should break it apart, just like that. You could also
That's it?
toss it into, if I'm interpreting this right, you could throw it into the molten fires of Bell's volcano. That's another way of doing it, but... Either
sure
one.
the sticks runs everywhere. Okay.
I
Okay,
know, it's
alright.
so simple. I guess if you somehow came across this knot here, it would be a little more complicated, but you know. So, there you go.
It's great. That's fantastic.
Yes, yes.
You're-
I look forward to the repercussions of this.
Yeah. Hope you don't get in too much trouble for this, but
Oh, by the way, your little stunt you did with that Titan. Oh, anyways, so, anything else?
want to take a look at this?
Again, I would be willing to maybe for a bit of a prize. If you have something.
We need to think about this, but
Oh, okay, of course.
How about just a trade? We got some stuff that's probably interesting to you.
What
Pip,
do
you
you
got any more of that glue? Maybe we could just.
is there anything you would like to do? Some sovereign glue, lots of mayhem. You could.
Some sovereign glue. I see. How much of it do you have?
Oh, Pip pulls it out and is like, about 2 uses.
She looks at it very closely. Is it 2 uses of sovereign glue? Okay.
Yeah. Actually, it looks like only 1 use.
Make a whiz save for me. I'm gonna say make it with disadvantage. You're doing this right in front of Mad Maggie.
I mean, yeah, what the hell? Playing fast and loose. Wow, okay. That's the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay, what happens?
8. Hold on, let me see something.
I didn't mean to make this a thing, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I mean, yeah.
You could flash a genius it.
All right.
I could, but I want to see what happens.
Well, you say that, and everybody in the room suddenly hears a ripping sound. And Pip, you feel the back of your pants split as
Oh,
suddenly
I haven't.
a forked tail whips out from behind and sort of whips up around back behind you, and you see this kind of devilish tail appear out from behind you. And Mad Maggie kind of smiles.
Oh, Pip. In front of me?
It was worth a try. Do I still have a satyr tail?
No, that is replaced by this devil tail. Yeah.
Honestly, I like this tail better.
It does suit you quite nicely. Well then,
A double tail. No, that would be funny, but no.
so then, and she kind of squints. 2 uses of sovereign glue. Got it. I would be happy to take that off your hands, and I'll take a look at this.
And she extends a hand out, palm open.
Okay, I guess we give that away.
Okay, the sovereign glue is removed from your inventory as she takes it,
Oh,
pockets
we
it,
should have done the infernal tack.
and she
Yeah.
takes that
was thinking of
contract and sets it down, and the apparatus springs to life once more as she strokes it and points towards it, and it starts to feel the contract with its strange filaments once more, and you see the fingers rising out of the oil as it begins to interpret what this is. Here it is.
Should have given her cargo.
Oh, did I not write that? Okay. Yeah, so she goes,
Oh, okay. This one is quite interesting. It's not quite as juicy as what the first one was that you brought me, but it has potential. So, this is indeed a contract between Zariel and a noble. It seems that a noble by the name of Vanthampur. It states that as long as Vampir delivers the souls of Baldur's Gate to Zariel, she is promised a promotion down here in Baldur's Gate upon her soul arriving. A promotion to the high ranking of Avernus, which is very respectable down here to be right away promoted to an Avernus. It also states something about. It seems that your this Duke Vanthampur, well, at the time she wasn't a duke, and that Zariel gave her a bit of help in becoming said Duke of Baldur's Gate as part of this contract. And let's see, and you're wondering how it could be destroyed? Yes. Well, this one is a bit. It's still a little straightforward as long as you can get there, but all you have to do is take the contract and have it be devoured by the great Utiug of Minoros. So just travel down to Minoros, toss it to the Utiug, and then you'll be fine. It'll gobble it up and destroy the contract. I'm sure that'll be nice and simple after raiding the Infernal Archive.
I'll let Kadam deal with that. All right.
Did it say anything about how Vanthampur was planning on delivering the contract? Like, any method of delivery?
Nope, just that she has to deliver those souls, or, if she doesn't, then bad things like her soul's forfeit, she will not be promoted, she will stay a Lemure indefinitely upon arriving in the Hells, things like that.
That was not worth blowing our cover about.
Absolutely was not, but we didn't know that. I'm much more inclined to just kill Duke Vanthampur. She's terrible
honestly,
anyway.
That seems like the way to do this one.
Utiag, Minoros, whatever. I'm just gonna kill her. Oh,
There you go. So, anything else for you?
You don't have a nightmare kicking around, do ya?
I'm afraid not.
Yeah, worth a shot. Okay, we got a date with the river.
The eyes sort of flick out in the direction that you came from. And she goes,
Oh, pity, I see you don't have your vehicles anymore.
and the eyes flick back towards you.
Oh, that's quite sad. Do you need new ones?
what do you want?
Or what do you have?
No, wait. Yep, we got the bikes.
I know we have bikes. I just here. Look, just give me a few minutes alone with Maggie. I'm not going to make a contract or anything. Don't worry.
You have to understand why I'm extremely skeptical about doing that.
Look, this Orbit Dragon kind still has a little bit of my dried blood on it. I was bleeding a lot. Do you want to just check on Kadam?
Right? I mean, sure, but how's that relevant to this?
It's not. I'm trying to distract you.
I'm distracted.
Well, as you debate as what to do next, whether you're going to trade with Maggie or not, we're going to sort of fade out from this scene as you've gotten the information you sought out to seek, and we will cut over to a small cell deep within where the heck is my scene? There it is.
I'm not gonna go for the nice.
Deep within the flying fortress of Captain Aztuzur Kidam, we find you resting within this cell surrounded by a hellish red-orange light with these panels of iron covered in infernal runes surrounding you. The floor itself, these barbed needles kind of poking up from the ground, making it very uncomfortable to try to sit or rest within this cell. What are you up to?
It's been hours, yeah? Is he still here?
It's been hours. He's been talking your ear off the whole time. I think at this point, as the at this point, we'll just pick up right here. So it's been like 10 hours of him talking to you. How do you think your resolve has been in this 10 hours?
I am at this point. Like, can I sit? Like, is it?
It's very uncomfortable.
I am leaning most of my weight up against the bars.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of crouched, squatting, but essentially sitting, ignoring him.
Yeah.
As best I can.
Yeah. I mean, he's basically like, he doesn't really need rest, and he's just talking, and he's kind of using this as a form of trying to whittle you down. You think you've been able to endure this and not break or crack in any way?
If he asks me a direct question and pushes on it, I will continue to be as vague and indirect and circular as I can.
Okay, gotcha.
But I'm not playing the game like I was earlier on.
Okay. You can you can't really make out what he's saying at this point, just that almost muffled droning of his speaking. And you vaguely sense something small kind of flit into the room by his side. I don't know if you look up at it or not, but you can kind of see movement, and you sort of hear the muffled sound of his voice sort of stop abruptly.
Is it an imp?
Yeah, you look up and see there's an imp just resting on his shoulder, sort of whispering into his ear as he's listening, and then it sort of flits away, and he kind of turns to look to you. Oh, I'm afraid our time together has come to an end. We're about an hour away from our destination, so I'll give you a little time to yourselves. As he looks about, this Irenaeus winged devil sitting there with the black feathered wings and beautiful features of his face. He looks at all of your companions, which you still cannot see, and he stands up and turns.
Have water?
Oh, that would be nice, wouldn't it? How about for an answer?
What do you want to know?
How about one of the true names of one of your companions?
What constitutes a true name?
All right, we'll be seeing you. And he turns and begins to walk towards the elevator. The elevator door opens, and he steps inside, and it clatters shut, leaving you alone with the two bearded devils. Are you going to do anything, Kadam, as you are sort of left alone here?
There's nothing to do.
Okay. You're not sure how much time passes, but you do hear a small voice coming from the cell next to you as Lulu pipes up. How you doing, Kadam?
I'm real tired.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah, Yeah. I don't think I quite need rest like you do, but it still makes all this pretty awful, just watching this happen to you.
I'll manage. We're getting close.
Can you try to reach out towards me?
I will stick my arm out and around to my right.
You see one
Can
of
I
the
feel
bearded.
her?
You see one of the bearded devils sort of straighten up and see this and start walking towards you, and then you feel her little trunk dart out and sort of wrap around your hand, and she casts heal on you. As that happens, you feel that energy wash through you, and then a very abrupt, sudden, sharp pain as the bearded devil smacks both your hands and you get pulled apart. Well, I hope at least that helped a little.
Immensely.
Um,
And I will switch to Celestial.
yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm really grateful you're here. I'm sorry you're here.
It's okay. This is where I want to be.
All right. So that's 70 hit points.
70 hit points, yeah.
Beautiful.
And some other effects which I don't think apply to you, but if you're suffering from blindness, deafness, or any disease, you no longer have those, but I don't think you have any of those, so yeah. Yeah, so 70 hit points.
Incredible.
That's her one heal per day. But yeah, she gets that off. Time.
Yonder?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yonder? How are you holding up? In Elvish this time, I think.
In Elvish? Okay. Yeah, he responds back in Elvish. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm holding up better than you. Much like Lulu, I don't really need rest.
Yeah. All right. Good.
They definitely seem to be picking on you.
I had a thought. What was the thought? Oh, do I have a point of exhaustion at this point?
Make a con save.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I think it's a DC 10 for the first con save.
14.
Yeah, you're fine.
All right.
Okay.
I'll wait.
Yeah. Again, the sense of time, I think, it's probably becoming a little even harder to track here. But you do feel that sort of like momentum shift as this huge vessel you're on seems to be like coming to a stop. There's sort of the sound of all the machinery around you kind of changing and shifting. You can hear like marching boots up ahead and below as figures are moving about, and kind of loud sounds of infernal echoing throughout the space as things are going over the strange kind of magical PA system that's in this ship. And there's definitely a bit of commotion. Even in your tired state, you can tell that the two guards seem to even be shifting a bit in their demeanor as everything is kind of settling into place. There's a bit of time passing as you hear all this commotion happening. The ship has fully come to a stop at this point. You hear sort of a loud, bassy sound, that kind of blaring horn that these ships seem to make. And then sort of muffled and more distant, you hear one in response. Coming from somewhere outside. You continue to wait. They are magical. PA systems are magical. As you wait here with anticipation as to what may come, you kind of hear something loud and metallic sort of seeming like something just connected with the ship as everything sort of slightly moves. More time continues to pass. You hear more marching above, and then you hear the elevator system begin to as the lift comes down and and slides open. Captain Ostazur steps out with a contingent of 3 chain devils that all come out behind him. He flicks his hand, not saying anything, just looking at all of his minions around him. They move around the room and begin to rip open the cages. The chain devils' chains whip out and begin to wrap around all of you, keeping you bound, and they start to lead you towards the elevator, and you are led up through the elevator shaft. Floors whipping past till eventually the whole top part of this shaft sort of ratchets open, and hellish red light washes down into the shaft, and you find yourself lifting up out of the ship, and you find yourself on the roof of this vessel where you can see billowing clouds around. You hear the distant sounds of battle and crackling electricity, and you realize that there's something off to your right, and as you look, you see this massive familiar shape of the crackling companion in the sky. There are soldiers all atop this vessel, and you can kind of see flashes and hear the thumps of cannons. Captain Ostazur begins to lead you across the deck of this ship towards what looks to be almost a segmented gangplank that is connecting this ship to a larger flying fortress on the other side. And you begin to hear the other sound of, yes, the soul engine screaming, but the sounds of more present screaming. And as you cross that gangplank onto this ship, you can see down below, strewn all across this ship, are individuals just strapped to the side of this vessel. And you step aboard the deck of the second ship. More soldiers all kind of crowding around you, making sure that you aren't... they seem to be kind of protecting you almost like valuable assets. And you realize that up in the sky, there's battles taking place above you. You can see winged creatures clashing, some of them spiraling down, others getting hit by blasts of light and igniting in flame and just down, down, down. When you got that brief moment of crossing the gangplank, you could see far below the city of Elturel burning and moving, writhing with shapes. The whole city is being overrun by creatures of all sorts. It's hard to tell what's happening down there. But
find Hahol.
Make a perception roll. It's a very brief moment that you get an actual clear view of what's below you.
Yes, this is a straight 14.
14. It's a big building, so you catch it, but that's about it. You recognize, oh, there's High Hall before it goes out of view, right? That's kind of all you get.
All right.
You know that the shape is still there, right? It's not in ruin. You are ushered across onto the deck of this other ship, and led to another opening of an elevator. And just as soon as you were outside, you were once more dropped back down into the bowels of this new vessel. And it comes to arrive in a familiar set of chambers as the doors peel open, and you find yourself in a similarly kind of circular chamber filled with cells, and pushed forward into 3 cells. All of you split up, and you are shoved into another cell, and the doors slammed shut. Captain Ostazur looks at you 3.
Well, she'll be here soon.
And sort of steps back and leans and waits there next to the elevator shaft with the 3 chained devils all standing at attention, waiting.
Can I get another beat on him? How is he feeling about the situation? Is he...
Yeah, make an insight roll.
Yeah, ripe with anticipation. Is he nervous? How does he feel he's doing? This is insight. This is at advantage. Yes? I'm still attuned to the sword?
You are still attuned to the sword.
All
I
right.
don't think there's anything that says if you're away from it that you aren't attuned to it, so.
26.
26. At first, you get that he seems pretty excited and seems almost confident, but then you can tell at a deeper level there is some apprehension, some fear that is lingering there below the surface.
Good. All right.
The only other thing you notice in this space is that sort of kitty corner from where you are, kind of off to the left on the other side of the room. There is actually one other figure in one of these cells, sort of slouched over in the corner.
You know?
Not slouched. They look more like they're kind of sitting with their back to the cell wall, kind of cross-legged.
Can I tell anything about them?
You can make a perception roll.
25.
5. Man, that is very good. Interesting. So you see, it's a devil, and you've seen a devil slouch. That could be me. Yeah, I also slouch. You see a devil sitting cross-legged there. This type of devil you've seen before. This looks to be similar to the type of devil that was berating that scribe when you arrived at the platform in the archive that was asking about Glim's contract.
Yeah. Oh, it was Glim's contract, was it?
Oh, sorry. About that contract.
Oh, cool. Yep.
Yeah, sorry. I guess that was not explicitly stated. Oops.
Right,
Anyways, you
right.
see that type of devil sitting there, back to you. So kind of bulbous, sort of broad shoulders, kind of rounded in shape. The head and neck all kind of one piece, sort of like rising up into a dome. This one has some sort of like streaky hair that is kind of coming out the top of the head. Little bat-like, almost hand-like wings that are kind of curled at the back. They don't seem to have any clothing on. They're just naked, sitting in this cell. And with a 25, you do kind of catch as they look, as you are sort of getting settled, they kind of look to see like who has entered. And you kind of catch the profile of the face. It's different. It's a devilish face. But there's something really familiar about it. I mean, you've had this head in your bag for how long?
Is it Fabius?
It looks like Fabius. And then they sort of stiffen and turn back and seem to be like almost meditating, staring at the wall, sitting in the cell.
I think that genuinely rocks me for a moment. Like I like go up and like try and get a better look at him for a moment.
I mean, yeah, he's sitting there like looking like he's trying to meditate, just sitting in this cell, looking at the wall, away from you.
All right. I'm awake now.
Okay. Are you gonna just wait?
Yeah, I don't want to approach him with everyone else here.
I mean, yeah, he's, across the room in another cell.
Yeah.
Okay. Not much time passes when you hear kind of I think you just hear the elevator activate. As it comes slowly down and to a halt. The metal doors slide open, red light spilling out into the room, a silhouette of a figure standing there, immense, within the elevator. You see a close to 10-foot tall humanoid shape standing there, wings curled up behind, massive and beautiful dark black wings. Immaculate plate armor covering the body that has intricate glowing little runes in certain aspects of it. It is covered in ichor. There's just bits and chunks and pieces of ichor, and you see this figure even kind of smearing off a big chunk as they seem to have been in the middle of kind of like cleaning themselves off as they were coming down this elevator shaft. Turning and looking, there is a huge warhammer that is sort of holstered at their side, and where their left hand is, you can see it is missing, and there is just kind of a ball of a mace attached there where the hand would be, as they're pushing off this gore and they turn. Glowing above their head is just a burning halo of fire that is illuminating their face, casting it in harsh shadows, and there are pinpricks of burning light where the eyes are. The face itself is like a pure ashen white, with dark, almost burned ashen shadows around the eyes that kind of come down in streaks to the cheeks. Large pointed ears, completely bald head, sharp angular features as this figure steps out, turns, and stares down at all of you. You are here before the Archduchess Zariel of Avernus as she steps into the room. She looks about, and then her gaze rests on you, Kadam. You see she stares intently at you, holding your gaze. She walks forward, each step kind of thudding and echoing through this space with her heavy footfalls, her armor clanking. As she comes right up to the cage, staring down at you. She gets down on a knee to get eye level with you, to look you in the eye.
I told you I would remember you. You've been busy.
She looks over to Yonder's cell. And looks back to you.
I found him.
Yes. Good job.
She looks at your wings carefully.
So you found it.
Found a lot of things down here.
So,
I've been informed by my incompetent captain that some of your companions got away. And
That's
he's
true.
been with you for the past 11 hours. And you haven't budged. Are you going to drag this out?
Yes, I am.
Very well. She stands back up to look down on you. Do you care about Bureau and Jasper, Kadam? What about your sister?
You know about them.
Yes. You've been quite a thorn in the side of one of my, worshippers. Now, she can make their lives a living hell. Until, of course, they die, and I find some way to manipulate the Great Wheel and bring them down here to me. And then I can continue that suffering. And you can all suffer as a family, together. Wouldn't that be nice?
And all you're asking for is names.
Names, allies, locations where they might be. Who would they run to?
We hadn't gotten that far. I don't know if we genuinely expected to succeed in getting the contracts.
Well, you have. Clearly you have friends down here. Who would you go to if you needed help?
Oh. There was, Red Roof. We exchanged favors with her. I might go back.
Is
That's a
that it?
possibility.
Make a deception roll for me.
Is that a deception? Did I lie?
You didn't, but I think Kadam would very well know that for them to go to Red Ruth first seems really unlikely.
This is true. This is
So-
true. Okay.
Yes, I would
I'm
ask
not
you.
great at deception. Okay, that's decent. 18.
She also got an 18. So you win? I don't know.
She was setting the DC.
She was setting the DC, I guess? Yeah.
So if I meet it, I beat it.
I guess so. Okay. Yeah. She rolled really bad. Let me just see if she has any other tricks up her sleeve to give her a little bit of a boost here on a deception roll, on an insight check. That's too bad. Okay.
I am lightheaded with fear.
It is 9 o'clock. Olive, Claire, Enyo, you good to go a little late tonight? I'm seeing thumbs up. Okay,
It is
great.
great.
Great. That's all. One name, one ally.
We also traded with Archon the Cool.
What did you get from him?
Blood, actually.
Any other names?
No.
She leans close.
Belle. She gets closer.
Yeah. Belle.
He's been trying to curry favor with Elturalians,
I
blaming
see.
you for all their woes and saying he'll give them a better chance down here.
I'm sure he would. Just like Belle. You better not be leaving any names out. We'll be verifying this information. Now, the names of your companions.
Just one more.
Oh, good. Yes, please.
Mordenkainen.
Mordenkainen. What
Yeah?
could he possibly... What stake does he have in my goings-on?
I don't know.
And what aid did he offer you?
Information.
About?
Yonder.
Yes, yonder. I'll need to be dealing with him. Now, the names of your companions.
Nettle. Legend. Pip.
Not
Lulu.
aliases.
Yonder.
Give me their names, not their aliases. I am beginning to lose my patience with you, Kadam. Do you understand what it is that you are even doing here? What you are stopping from happening? You're getting in the way of something far bigger than your insignificant life.
Yes.
Are you going to give me their names? Really? Okay. Yonder. Mind if I have a word? And she turns to his cell and you hear the door rip open, and as she reaches in and pulls him out of the cell, holding him up in front of you. You went through a lot of trouble to get my cowardly general. How much do you care about him? Their names, please.
How's Yonder looking?
I mean, he looks okay, right? Like he's uncomfortable. He's being held
Emotionally.
by the throat. He's crying. Yeah, like, you know, he's sitting there having kind of a hard time looking at her, grabbing onto her thick hand around his neck, and there's just tears streaming down his cheeks.
Legend is Spark.
Legend is what?
Spark.
Okay.
Daedal is Verity. And Pip is Anastasia.
I'm gonna need another deception roll.
Come on. Come on. Okay. 24.
That is fucking unbelievable. I just rolled a 24. Fucking goddamn it. Oh my god. Oh my god. What the fuck?
Let me write these down so I don't forget.
Okay. She continues to squeeze around Yonder's neck.
Please don't hurt him.
I'll do what I want with him. Let's see.
I am sweating. My hands are wet. My mouth is dry.
She squeezes a little harder around Yonder's throat, and then for the first time you see her turn and look towards Lulu's cell. Lulu, can you, and with each accent of her phrase, she squeezes a little tighter around Yonder's throat. Can you confirm the accuracy of these names? Look at me. I'm gonna have Lulu roll a deception roll.
Come on, Lulu.
Lulu, just shut the fuck up Friday.
Okay, she got an 11. Yeah. Zariel gets a... It's like a 20-something, 21. Oh my. She slowly turns and looks back at you, Kadam. Kadam, you probably understand the specifics of how vampires work, yes? She jerks her head, and you hear kind of a loud screeching sound as... Yeah, I guess these people were waiting for dramatic effect. You hear the sound of something being sort of dragged across the floor from behind the kind of central column of the elevator shaft. And you see two bearded devils sort of dragging something big and heavy from around the back side of the shaft. And they pull out this pretty nondescript looking large wooden crate with kind of a hinged top and a latch. And with your passive insight, you see Yonder's eyes sort of bleary, like looking, and spots it, and you see him kind of like wide-eyed looking, and he kind of is choking something, looking up at Zariel. She looks at you. Now you see. He places him down on the ground, still holding onto him, and wordlessly gives another telepathic command as a couple of chains whip out and wrap around Yonder, restraining him there. And she just lets go as he... Where did you get that? Yonder. You know I have my ways. I've been holding on to this for quite some time. Now, if I do this... And she grabs onto the hammer, and as she pulls it out, you see one of the chain devils pull out something else rapidly. It looks to be like a small metal flask in its hand. She grabs onto the hammer, and just with one hit, I'll roll just in case he's able to somehow. Yeah, easy, hits him. Slams it into his chest. You feel this blast of energy burst from the hammer as it hits his chest, and you take 10 points of cold damage just from being in the vicinity of this thing as it hits you. And you just see Yonder instantly go limp as it crushes his chest, and he just falls down in the chains, completely limp and lifeless. And she pulls the hammer back. Oh, don't worry. And you watch as his body kind of dissolves and turns into a mist. The chain devil with the flask whips it out, and Yonder fails his whiz save, and you watch as the mist gets sucked into the flask, and it closes shut. The chain devil passes it to Zariel. She grabs onto it, shows it to you, and you can see there's little like windows of glass into this flask, and you can kind of see this like ethereal shape of like a form sort of in fetal position with inside, and she holds it. He has 2 hours. That there is his resting place. If I were to let him out, he can go there, rejuvenate, and be back with us. So, again, I ask you, what are their names? She jerks her head, and the chain devil that had the flask turns towards Lulu's cell. Well, I guess we'll try the next method. You hear the cell
You're scared of her,
slide
ain't you?
open. What you said, you're scared of her? She... Make an insight roll.
Uh-huh. 28.
Yeah, you see her kind of tense when you say that. But the actions are still happening. She is not called off. So you hear that cell slide open. Chains whip out, and a small whimper as Lulu kind of and it wraps around. You watch as the chain devil starts walking backwards, and Lulu's just being dragged across the floor on the chains.
What is it about her? When she looks at you, do you see who you used to be? Because I do.
If you care about her, you'll give me those names.
Lulu. Lulu, can you look at her for me?
Lulu, lying there, is kind of turning and trying to look up at Zariel, bleary-eyed. Zariel's still just staring daggers at you.
Show me, Zariel. Show me you ain't afraid.
Zariel, please look at me. Look at me! I'm gonna have her roll persuasion roll for this.
May I help?
Yeah, she'll have advantage on this. And yeah. Not quite good enough. Zariel continues to stare at you.
Names! She is a distraction. Insignificant to what I am doing. Now give me those names if you care about her.
Is that what you tell yourself?
Take her away.
Lulu is dragged towards the elevator shaft, and
Lulu.
she begins to scream, pulled into the shaft.
Wait.
Zariel holds a hand up.
Not the- Pip's name, as far as I know, is Pip.
The others?
Promise you'll keep Pip or keep Lulu with me.
I promise.
Do I believe her?
Make an insight roll.
I'm so grateful it's her advantage. Dirty 20.
She's telling the truth.
And yonder.
Yes. Yonder can stay with you both.
No, I want him alive.
If you give me the names, he will be safe and alive.
Loudly. Valor.
Lulu is dragged back to the cell. Chains unfurl, door slides shut. She flicks the flask open and the mist pours out and trails into the box. She gestures to the two bearded devils, which drag the box into the cell next to you, and you hear the door slide shut and close. She seems to communicate something again telepathically to everybody around her, and then turns to you. We'll be verifying all of this. You better hope I don't come back here. And she turns and heads for the
Think you
elevator.
will.
And
You're not done here.
she pauses at the elevator, door open, back to you. And then the doors slide shut. And we're going to end tonight there. That feels like a good stopping point. Whew! Okay. We will debrief probably off stream, but just as an initial check-in with the 4 players here. Everybody okay? Okay, I see a smile on Claire's face. That's good. Okay. All of this. Okay. All right. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. It was a little longer, but it felt necessary. Thank you for watching tonight. Hope to see you next week. Have a lovely evening. Goodbye.